Welcome to Metaphysical Awakenings with Barbara.
And Eric.
And this is episode 28. And the title for today is The Silver Thread in All Religions. So kind of a deeper topic here, Barbara.
Yeah.
You know, getting into different religions causes sometimes some controversy and sometimes some disagreement.
Right. And that's just so sad to me. I've been a student of world religions for a very, very long time because ultimately I would have to call myself a Gnostic. And a Gnostic is a Greek word for truth seeker.
Oh.
One who seeks the truth.
I totally resonate with that. And I think that's why you and I are good friends, because we are looking for that truth and staying open. Like once we maybe find some parts of that truth, we're still staying open to other things that could futurely impact our understanding of the grandness of God.
Interestingly, there's the sect of the Jewish tribes. They were called the Essenes.
Okay.
And it is believed, I don't know, I wasn't there, but I'm perpetuating what I've heard historically. It's believed that Jesus was an Essene, and they were of Gnosis, or truth-seeking Gnostics. Okay? And I wholly believe that in every single religion, there is that silver line of truth in all of them.
Yeah, I think all of them, all religions are seeking truth,
of course,
in their own understanding to come to the greater connection with divinity.
Of course, and a lot of it, Eric, has to do with historical historical documentation, of course. But before there was documentation, there was the carrying it on through verbal, what is the word? When you know, Native Americans will teach people in the tribe by sharing verbally all of their history.
Sure, the oral tradition.
Oral tradition.
Yes.
Thank you for saving me. I was trying to find that one.
You.
Yeah, and in the oral tradition, we have to go because our written history only goes back so far. The rest came through oral tradition. Now I will tell you what.
No, I was just thinking, just the same as music too, because music was only recorded as far as in manuscript in the middle of the 900s, and before that it was all orally passed on between
just
generation to generation. And there's discussions in Greek literature as far as what certain music sounded like, warlike or love-like, but there's no description of like where the actual notes or that. So yeah, it was all of oral tradition. So, and that's what we relied on for many years until we eventually came into the beginning of the Renaissance, got out of some of the Dark Ages, and started being able to transcribe it onto written word. And that presents a whole new challenge as well. But anyway, that's a different topic.
Are. You just explained the whole thing. And the oldest record on Earth right now, as far as I know, goes back to Zoroastrianism. And that was of Persia.
Okay.
And this was a very long time ago. And I've been studying Zoroastrianism, if I'm saying that properly. I think I am. And I recognized immediately the dualism, the God, the good guy and the bad guy. Okay, yes. The God and then the negative, the devil, if you will. And carrying that through, they overthrew a lot of different tribes in their lives, and they got to the Jewish people, and part of the Hebrew Bible or the Torah also supports things from Zoroastrianism. There is a silver thread. There are words that are almost exactly alike, but because of languages, they are written or pronounced differently, but it's the same story coming through. See?
Yeah, I've heard the story of the Great Flood be taught in many different iterations of
It's
whether
in
it be
there.
the Bible, whether it be just the Book of Enoch, if I'm not mistaken, and a few other places. A lot of the civilizations all around the world recorded this same event happening.
Yep. And, a lot of it has to do with,
And when they recorded it, also, it was many thousands of years after the event happened, because it was all based on oral tradition of sharing that story of what was going on. So we don't really have, as far as we know, some of those written artifacts, because as far as writing, about maybe 3,000, 2,000 BC.
Interesting.
With the Sumerians.
The Sumerians,
I
yes, absolutely. Mesopotamia. Right. And anyway, so going back before Jewish tradition, the Judaic ways, the Zoroastrianism folded into Hinduism. Okay? Oh. And there are a lot of similarities that go through the Upanishads for our silver lining to go through. And it carries on through the Upanishads and the Torah and the Quran on into our Bible as we know it. And go ahead.
No, I think this brings me to one of the more controversial topics that I wanted to get your opinion on. And if I'm not mistaken, as far as Hindi, they worship many deities.
Oh, yes. Okay. Shiva being one of the biggest.
Right. So it is believing in polytheism, many gods in conflict with monotheism.
Right. And that's true. That's the truth. That's why I'm saying the little bits and pieces are taken and respoken, and the polytheism and the monotheism, that's gonna butt heads there. But once you start to actually take brief courses in these different religions, you can see where everything has truth to it from way back.
Yeah, from my brief interactions with a couple of courses of Hinduism, it just seems like each of these deities that are polytheistic represent certain aspects of God or goodness that combined go to a monotheistic God. Maybe they don't. I don't know if they really believe that right there, because they pray to different deities or different entities. But in my mind, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a separation.
No,
it's kind of like God compartmentalized.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
It does. And if you look at these deities, they are always the knower of earth things. They are the deity of love, or the deity of sadness, or the deity of the sun, or the deity of, all of these different things. And all compartmentalized.
And all earth things. I never really thought of it in terms of that, but you're absolutely correct. They're all man-made things rather than maybe universally grander things. It's ways that we as humans can kind of understand the world around us.
Exactly. And, this is the way that they learned with what they had to know back in the day. And, who's right, who's wrong? Who knows? I don't know. I know. The only thing I know with 1,000% certainty is God lives here. God is not up sitting in a chair, throwing down fireballs, making people fall down and go boom and hurting people. The God that after all of these courses and all of these things, my gnosis or my Gnostic beliefs, my truth, is that God is love.
Yes.
Love is God. The earth plane is kind of like a school, and ucky things have to happen in order for our souls to learn, grow, and expand.
Absolutely. And we're made in the image of God, so I totally agree with you that God is within us. But since God is omnipresent, I feel like God can be here, can be up there, and can be with others as well.
Always.
Too. There's this great song by Penelope Williams that is Be Still and Know. And it goes, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. And then the second time, be still and know that you are God.
Yeah.
And then the third time, be still and know that we are God.
Yeah.
So it kind of incorporates all of the presences of that God is everywhere.
Everything and all things.
But not to diminish on what you were saying, I think one of the most personal ways of being in connection with God is within ourselves.
Sure.
Rather than viewing God as someone who's up on a chair up there on a cloud.
And judging us.
And judging us.
Throwing fireballs at us. Yeah.
I'm not saying absolutely that couldn't be the case, but
I don't believe it.
I don't think it is.
I don't believe
okay.
it. No.
No. Yeah.
I'm going to be a little opinionated there, but
no, please go for it.
We're
speaking our truth here.
My truth came from years of seeking and actually going back through these older religions and finding what felt best to me. And it came with, believe it or not, the findings in 1944 in Nag Hammadi, and some of those old papyrus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of those papers, sure.
Yeah.
The scrolls.
And some of them that didn't make it into our canonical Bible, or is it canonical?
Yeah, canonical. Yeah,
the canonical Bible,
which many did not.
Right, and many did not. But there is such great awareness of who Jesus was, and what he did on the earth plane through some of those different papyruses. The Gospel of Peter is profound. The Gospel of Thomas is very, very readable, and even Mary Magdalene had her own. And that all together with what I had gleaned, and it hit me as, there's truth. Here is, the goosebumps on the head, all of it. And that is how we know that is what God is for us. We're all individuals. I'm not telling you to believe what I believe, but I'm telling you to go out there and find your own way instead of being spoon-fed things that may not even make sense.
Absolutely. You gotta learn it for yourself. You gotta identify it with yourself. It has to be part of what you believe rather than what someone else tells you to believe. We all have that free choice.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And along the journey, you might feel some guilt and some like, I'm not doing the right thing because of other pressures from the outside. But part of being a truth seeker is knowing for yourself that this is actually what I believe.
Yeah.
And once you have that, then you have that greater connection with God. And as I mentioned in a previous episode, I grew up Jehovah's Witness. And to a certain extent, they believe that only they were the chosen ones. And for me, that was really hard to understand and acknowledge because that was less than 1% of the population on Earth. And I was like, how can all these other religions who are seeking out God in a genuine way, I believe, even as a kid, how could they all be wrong? And how could God spite them for that? So as a result, I ended up leaving that and then became agnostic for a while. I said, hey, I don't know. I never became atheist. I never said that, hey, there's no God, but I was in that void, that point in that, hey, I'm not really sure. But around my mid-20s, I started feeling like, I think there is something greater. And I'll continue that story at some place else, but
it's very appropriate.
Just want to let you know that we're all on our soul's journey through finding connection with God, and there's going to be times that we go through doubt or lack of faith, and that's just a human condition. And also there's so many other outside variables that influence our understanding of religion and what is right and what is wrong, or making us think that things are super absolute or super subjective. There's that whole range right here. But as truth seekers, we're just looking to find that truth
for self. Yes, that's important.
And hopefully also uplift others who are on that same journey.
Show them the way to think clearly for themselves, to seek truth, whatever that is for them. My coming up, I was of the Presbyterian faith. That's my mom and dad. And I came up as a Christian. When I started seeking, I realized, well, I still live the Christian way, and I believe Jesus Christ came to show me the way, the truth, and is the light. And so as I started to seek truth, I could call myself a Christian Gnostic, because that's who and what I am. Thank you. And I continue that, that's kind of, there's your sign. But that's how we continue to grow and understand things that are happening.
That's how I identify with too, as being a Christian Gnostic. Sometimes I struggle with Jesus Christ being our Savior for our inherent sin, because I'm not really sure if we have inherent sin. I mean, as human beings, sin is really just the absence of good. So sometimes whenever we are not being good, then we are in sin. But to me, Jesus Christ reflects our pure potential. And and that's why I think he's our way shower.
Yes.
And I alluded to the second coming of Christ in our last episode. And right after that, you said, I feel like a deer trapped in headlights. I haven't really thought of that, but I have some ideas. And then after you shared that, I was like,
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, the second coming of Christ for me has happened.
Oh.
Meaning that understanding of who I believe Christ to be in my life, that person, that persona, that energy is my way shower to my gnosis. I will walk the walk and talk the talk of Jesus. I'm not going to sit in a chair and talk about Jesus all day long and try to pull anybody in to think the way that I do. But with my understanding, the kind of being born again is being born into, I have a mind, I have a heart, and I have a way of finding my own way of loving the divine. And isn't it interesting how it came all the way back around to where Jesus was my way shower, and that I want to personify who and what he was as a master teacher and teach only the good parts, learn more, move on, and continue. So that was the second coming for myself.
Beautifully said. For myself, I feel like the second coming is happening right now for those who are willing to receive and accept that Jesus is our way shower, and then by embodying his most high ideals and the ways that he walked about life and putting it into our life, we can then obtain that second coming of Christ through primarily love.
Yes.
Right there. That being said, I'm not going to discount that maybe Jesus might come down from the clouds someday and come in a literal manner. But from at least what I've understood, especially in the past week, especially after Easter time, and the resurrection,
yes.
I just feel like Jesus' second coming is for us to know that we have the potential to do everything that Christ Jesus could do, in his time. Now, being human, we're fallible, and we still have the potential, but may not be able to reach every part of that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But that's the second coming of Christ, to know that we have that potential of that Christ-like spirit, to show love to everyone else, to embody all of the messages and parables and love that he showed us right there.
To embrace the spirit of Christ is when we become spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, I will say that people in the Jewish faith, they will have their way of moving forward and learning and growing through their traditions. Likewise with Muhammad.
With the Muslim faith, sure.
All of it, that's your silver lining. We are all human beings, but that is secondary to us being spiritual beings.
Yeah, I feel like all religions are really seeking that connection with God. It's just maybe some, and not only religions, but just spirituality beliefs are more of, you're told one way to think,
right? And
then some are other. It's up to you to find out what you think,
right?
And I guess both you and I are kind of more on that side, as far as you need to find out what you yourself think. But I don't know if that necessarily means that those who prefer to just be told what to think, if that's working for them and that's creating that connection with God, then
amen.
Yeah.
My master teacher always taught me, I don't expect you to believe everything that I say, but I want you to take what resonates with you. Take what you want, leave the rest. Just don't discount it.
Right.
Just leave it and walk on. Because other people have other ideas or in other places, and we're all on this journey on this earth plane together, but we're certainly not all in the same headspace.
And that's what's tough for many of us, because if you take things from a literal point of view, then you go based on exactly what certain words say, what certain other people tell to you, and that is the absolute truth. And I guess that's why our podcast is called Metaphysical Awakenings, because we are kind of exploring the learn for yourself to find this truth. Seek your truth. And it might not necessarily be in non-alignment what you've already been in. Right.
I loved when I was talking to a mother and father not too long ago, and we were talking about this very thing, and the mom says to me, Barbara, I'm going to guide these children with what I think and how I feel and what I believe. I'm going to teach them well, I'm going to love them, and then I'm going to let them go to explore and find their own selves. That way, with some of us from the old way, we had to get out of the old skin and old way of thinking, and were condemned for it.
Yeah,
I had someone...
Or even shunned.
Oh, again and again. It shows that, we don't know the truth. We don't know everything. But once you seek it, it comes to you. Mm-hmm. That's the spiritual law of attraction.
Yes, it is.
When you are ready, seek your truth and allow God to bring it. You don't have to go out anywhere. They'll put it right in your lap and you'll go, oh my gosh. And you will start to feel, hear, know, see, and experience God for yourself. You don't need anybody to tell you how to love God,
right.
Tell you what to think about God.
How to talk through God or...
all of it. Yes, exactly. You have your own one-way transmitter to God, and that's your heart through your mind.
I think it's one of the most beautiful gifts that we've been giving as human beings, is to have that divine connection and to be aware of that divine connection.
Yes, that's the big part, being aware.
Right, because I think animals, they're they have a knowing that they're connected.
Yep.
But they don't have that same knowing that humans do, as far as having maybe the free will of deciding whether or not that is happening or not.
Well, that's interesting. I think humans, it's been my experience because, I do the pet psychic thing in the different towns. It's amazing to me how many people come to me and show me their animals and stuff, and they've put their human traits on top of their animals.
yeah, projecting on top of it.
Projecting.
Right.
Well, this is a dog. This is not a human. It doesn't necessarily have that capacity to think in the way of a human. But I think if you will look at a dog, once you've had your dog for many, many years, you will feel that unconditional love, which is God.
Yeah.
And that's my opinion.
I think really this silver lining through all these religions really can bring us closer together than pushing us apart.
Yeah.
And easier said than done.
Sure.
Especially, I think for those who maybe take a more literal view of things, that makes it a little bit more challenging for them to not accept people of other faith.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, the best thing we can do is be open enough to love everybody right where they're at.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand what somebody's saying or doing, stop. Ask them.
Yeah,
They'd love to tell you.
Exactly. Just talking with that other person is
Explain
one of the
it.
best things that you can do, especially if it's someone who is not like-minded like you. Just say, and if they're open to just be like, hey, do you mind if I ask you a question about X, Y, or Z? Help me understand where you're coming from.
Right.
And that brings down those barriers.
Yep.
And creates more trust, and eventually creates more compassion, unity, and love, and just...
And you've got a friend.
And humanity.
Yes, you have a new friend.
Exactly.
I like it.
Yeah. Okay, this makes me feel very optimistic as far as where we are progressing as humans. I mean, we've only been around for, as far as the human sapiens, as far as I know, it's been about 100,000 years, which is not that long. And then civilization, as far as whenever we stopped becoming hunters and roamers, it was around 6,000 to 4,000 BC when we started getting some farming and agriculture. And around 3,000 to 2,000 BC, we started getting some more writing, and we've only I want to bring up Atlantis at some point because
okay.
Maybe I don't know if that's where you're going, but okay.
Well, yes, kind of, sort of. There were humans here before the Younger Dryas happened 12,700 years ago.
Yes.
They were able to function. They were able to live. We're finding their civilizations now. Their way of living, and we're astounded. How in the world would they have known that? They were hunter-gatherers. They could never have had anything that's sophisticated. Hello. Start following archaeoastrology, and let that guide you to learn and understand the ancients and how they discerned life. Let's put it that way.
Right.
What life is for them. It's extremely interesting.
Absolutely. I love those topics. But from more of a traditional standpoint, a lot of times that's what archaeologists will say, although it might not be true. But I guess my main point is that as far as a human species, we haven't been around that long. It's been like a split second in terms of the universe and everything.
In the bazillion of years, yeah, right. I would agree with that.
And that can be a really humbling thought because it just means that we don't know it all.
That's for sure.
I mean, things every generation are changing so rapidly as far as especially technology and just understanding of everything of the world, and it's always fluid, and we're on this journey together.
Yeah.
And the best way, just go through it with love and compassion for others, what they're going through, and
absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, be what Jesus was for his people. Love, understanding, peace, joy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're allowed a little anger in there. You remember the tax collectors.
Oh, yeah, he got angry.
He was human.
Also, I don't know if whenever he died on the cross, he said, "Father, why have you forsaken me?" And that was a really hard one for me to understand until the last week. But what I kind of realized is that was him sharing kind of his human side to him.
Sure.
Because sometimes in the pursuit of finding God and developing a connection, we're going to have that time to saying, God, well, why have you done this for me? Why have you taken my child away from me? Why have you struck this illness on me? Why have you done this?
No.
And it was just maybe Jesus having more of a human moment, but all his other moments were acknowledging that, hey, I trust in you, God. And, and I think it's part of the... Our freedom of will, our freedom of Sometimes we'll have doubt, and that can in turn, after we get out of that valley, make us closer to God.
When you come out of the valley, you will be on a higher plane of understanding than you were when you started.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot sit in the mud puddle and wallow. You must ask, why? Why am I knocked down? What am I to learn from this? And the glass is always half full. In the worst of times, the glass is half full. Just take your time. If you're full of grief and grief, you are in the human condition and you are supposed to. However, that glass is still sitting over there half full, ready to teach you and help you move on.
That's right. As you said before, we're in this earth school right here.
Oh, I believe that.
And fortunately, we have God guiding us, as well as friends and mentors. And I think this was from our other episode, but I really appreciate you being a mentor to other people who are seeking.
Oh, thank you.
That very special connection with God.
That truth.
That truth.
That's all.
Yeah.
I'll point you to the right road, but you have to do the walk. You have to do the talk. You have to do the learning. You must find your gnosis, your truth.
And that's the exciting part about the journey. As far as life, it's not about getting to that end goal.
No.
Life is about appreciating that journey along the way.
Absolutely.
So if you're always focused about the end goal, like I need to make $1 million before I'm going to be happy, or I need to have X, Y, and Z before I'm happy, you're going to
set yourself up for failure.
Put yourself in a place of unhappiness for a long time. You could still set goals. Goals are totally important and healthy to do. And just understand that sometimes you won't be able to execute exactly how you saw fit. And God's always watching over you. Maybe it might be a better plan. Like, for example, we weren't able to meet for 4 or 5 weeks, but hey, we're back now.
Yeah.
And all is well.
Yeah.
We're happy to be here with you. And if you have any comments or questions, please let us know in the chat. Once again, we are not saying that we know absolutely everything for truth.
No.
We are just explaining our own truth in this moment and encouraging you to do the same with love and compassion for others' opinions as well.
Amen to that. Very well put.
All right. Should we finish with the prayer for protection?
Always.
And this is one of the most powerful prayers. In case you don't have anything else to go to, this is one that you can always go to, and it's simple, and please join us with this one.
The light of God surrounds us.
The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Amen. We love you so much, and thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.